Hello everyone. I want to make this video very short. Um, During the last day or day and a half or 2 days, an educator on vaccines, Brandy Vaughan, was killed. She died. And there are so many cases of whistleblowers, journalists who die unexpectedly. We all know what's behind that. So how is that possible? Well, it's possible because of this. A country cannot take out a minister or a person from another country because many countries today know how to assassinate people in a smooth way. So if it's done to you, you know how it was done. You will retaliate, you will present that, you will out the perpetrator. So the only safe way of doing that against, let's say, people who are not approved by the mainstream media, and you can't take out people who are too big. So you go for the kind of people, journalists, whistleblowers, and most of them often do kind of have privacy, or they think a lot about their private life and try to keep it away from their work. So it makes them an easy target because they can't retaliate. Their supporters or fans, however we want to call that, do not have the means, the channels to kind of expose this. I mean, they have, but not in the grand scale as it would have been if a country did something like that towards another country. So we have a situation where you have small to below medium sized informers, educators, whistleblowers, journalists. They can be victims of this. It will be, of course, we know what happens, but it's hard to do anything about it. That's just the reality. We can talk and share and keep our eyes open when things like that happen. And these things happen in many countries. It happens in Sweden, it happens in the USA, it happens in France, in all countries. So keep your eyes on that, of these sudden deaths for people who are involved in investigative journalism, who are whistleblowers, people who might have been working for a company and then kind of working to inform what that company does. Whistleblower, or someone who has changed their minds, and it can be anything, but remember, it's always the small to below medium sized, or famous individual who can get targeted because of the following reasons. They are most often popular within a group or a local place. Let's say this happens in a country uh, whose language isn't that widespread, so you won't even be informed by it because you didn't even know that that person existed and did the work they did. But of course, if it's a popular language like English, French, Spanish, it might be spread around, so it's local and therefore vulnerable. And the other thing is also that those people are, they don't have the means. They're following, their supporters don't have the means to expose this on the scale it would have been needed to kind of get the perpetrators in prison. That's at the moment impossible. So be aware of that when those people die. Just the other day, and I catch up on these things often. So informer and educator on vaccines, Brandy Vaughan, died. You can look up, what she has done, what her projects were, and such. So I just want to share this because it has happened to journalists in Sweden, in Europe, and I've also followed this in countries that have, as I said, languages which are not popular. So you don't even know that they exist, that they do this. And it's very sad, and it's very scary in the sense that this won't happen to people like, let's just put out the name like David Icke or something, but people who are below medium, people who are kind of specific to certain topics, people who are local to a certain area or a group, people who haven't exploded in a sense. Then you have people who explode in popularity, but they get tamed and worked as disinformation agents. But anyway, so I just want to share this because I see this too often, and I really don't know how to make a video, a stance on this. So all I just want to convey is that when people who are whistleblowers, informants, educators just die unexpectedly, and happens too often, you know the reason why, because they are so vulnerable that nobody will, the perpetrators, the murderers won't get their sentence. People will know what happened, but it cannot be put out in such a grand scale as it should because of the lack of means. And why this doesn't happen more often, let's say, just to give a silly example, like Trump and Putin, like why don't they just take out each other? They don't have a reason to do that, but just for the sake, it's because the the powers that be, they are aware how this is done, and you can't do it. So you have to do it against those who can't retaliate, who can't kind of expose the means by which something like that has been done. So just think about it. Many people are uh, fighting for truth, and it cost them their lives, and few ever get to know about it. And it's sad. And I really, really wanted to kind of just say something about this because I've seen this happen many times. And yeah, what do you think can be done about it? I mean, the way I see it, the only thing is to speak about it. And yeah, at the current moment, perhaps. Anyway, take care. All the best. Ciao.